Never miss another fabulous cultural event in Cotacachi just because you can't speak Spanish. In other words, tells you everything you need to know about life in Cotacachi. And here is our host, Deborah May.
Welcome to, in other words, the only English language program on public radio in Cotacachi. Every Friday afternoon at 4, listeners will find out in English what special events and programs are going on next week in the Cotacachi area. On today's program, Katy Estrella is going to teach listeners some new words in Spanish. Apak Perugachi is going to talk about how everyone benefits from the revitalization and preservation of the Kichwa language spoken by thousands of indigenous people who live here in Cotacachi. At 4:30, I'll be interviewing local yoga teacher Cheryl Kane, who will share with us the benefits of yoga practice for people of all ages and physical conditions. Also on today's program, all of our oldies will be sung by the great folk music artist, James Taylor. He just turned 70 years old, but his music will never grow old. I'm your host, Deborah May. I'm glad you found the station, Radio Pública Cotacachi 93.5. So enjoy listening to the program today. It will be an hour well spent. In other words, welcome, bienvenida, Ali Shamushka.
Find out about the local events in Cotacachi before they happen on What's Going On.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's
going on? And here's what's going on in Cotacachi this week. In case you haven't heard, Substation finally has reopened at their new location. That's on 10 de Agosto, down the hill from San Francisco Park. Tomorrow evening, starting at 6 o'clock, La Banda Time will be playing at La Tola Restaurant. A portion of the proceeds will go to A Place of Hope, the organization that serves free breakfast to poor, elderly Kichwa residents of Cotacachi, with the help of many local volunteers from the expat community. To find out more about A Place of Hope and how you can help, you can go to the Cotacachi Volunteer Center Facebook group page. In Cotacachi and throughout Ecuador, did you know there's going to be a 4-day national holiday from Saturday through Tuesday? The holiday is a celebration of International Labor Day, or May Day. So schools, government offices, banks, and many businesses will be closed this Monday and Tuesday in honor of the labor of the nation's workers. You heard that right. The banks and government offices in Cotacachi will be closed on Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow, the community of La Calera invites everyone to join them for special events and ceremonies, beginning early in the afternoon and going into the evening. You can arrive around 1 to catch the speeches, ribbon cutting, and soccer games, or you can arrive around 6 to enjoy a free cultural program with music and dance featuring the local band Los Mayas. This week at Amicine, Steve will be showing the film I Origins, a film that blends science and spirituality, chance and destiny, mystery and love. Saturday at 2 o'clock on the grounds of the Ami Fundación in Cotacachi. Don't forget, there will be a huge dance competition for local Kichwa dance troupes. It's called Alpa Mama Tushui 2018, or in English, Mother Earth Dance. The competitions will take place in San Juan de Iluman this Sunday, April 29th, from 10 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday on May 5th, that's May 5, at 7:30 p.m., the Symphonic Band of Pichincha will have a concert at the church in San Francisco Park. The church is called Iglesia La Dolorosa, but most of us know it as the green and white church on the corner near the pastry shop.
You are listening to In Other Words.
If you are experiencing the effects of aging, injury, immobility, or illness, There's a class called Chair Yoga. That might be right for you. Chair Yoga classes are held every Monday and Friday from 11 to noon at Ananda. Now, Chair Yoga instructor Cheryl Kane will be my guest later in today's program when we give listeners something to talk about with interviews with local celebrities. More details about upcoming events that are not already being promoted in other English language media often can be found on the In Other Words Facebook page. So join the group and find out more about what's going on in Cotacachi. So if you're visiting Cotacachi, you would feel right at home at La Quadra Hostal and Cafe. Enjoy their relaxed, comfortable family atmosphere. The hotel is located right in the center of Cotacachi, on Modesto Penherrera, just a half block from Matriz Park. To make reservations, call 06-291-6015.
And now it's time to learn a few words in Kichwa. Mama Urku and Apak Perugachi speak Kichwapi.
What is Sisari? Why are you working with this group and why is this work so important?
Justamente Sisari quiere decir florecer, florecimiento. Entonces, esta organización es una organización nueva que estamos creando, que es como la organización madre paraguas, ¿sí? Dentro de esta habemos varias organizaciones como AKI, que está también Radio Ilumán, revista Wiñicause. También hay otra que es Kichwashu y otra organización es la Tinkunakui.
Apak says that Sisari is an organization that he's working with, and Sisari is like an umbrella organization that brings together a lot of other organizations or smaller groups that concentrate on preserving the Kichwa language or organizing events that are in Kichwa. He works with a lot of groups. All these groups belong to Sisari.
Prácticamente Sisari, con lo que queremos lograr con esta organización es crear un corpus para que la lengua quichua pueda continuar. Digamos, para la educación, para la creación de nuevas terminologías, ¿sí? Para la creación de nuevas terminologías, para lo que es el área cultural también, ¿sí? La producción cultural y para muchas más. Entonces, Sisari es más o menos una organización paraguas que quiere crear el corpus.
Apak explains that Sisari is really a very big organization. It's a very big undertaking, which has as its aim to help, obviously, to promote Kichwa. And their idea is to form some sort of corpus that would be a collection of texts, a collection of reference texts that can be used for educational purposes. Obviously, that would also need a grammar. For that, new terminology is needed. Sisari helps in developing this terminology. They come up with the right ways or the proper ways to describe Kichwa structure and how it really works, so they can actually teach this to other people interested in learning the language. So, Apak, I've been told that you teach Kichwa to Spanish-speaking students. Would you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and if they want to learn Kichwa, if they want to take Kichwa lessons?
Los que desean aprender la lengua quichua, que es una lengua muy hermosa y además una lengua de corazón de la tierra, pueden contactarse a número celular 098-085-1887 o también a los correos apacperugachi@gmail.com o si no también a la organización Tinkunakui, sí, pueden buscar como Tinkunakui en Facebook o también tinkunakui.com.
So, if you're interested in working with Apak and learning this wonderful language, which is actually the original language of this country, it's original people, indigenous people of Ecuador think and how they see the world. And as Apak really says, Kichwa is a very beautiful language which really speaks from the heart and really represents their relationship to reality, to nature, to everything that happens around them. So it's a very, very interesting language to dig into and to get to know.
Next week, Apak will teach us some simple and useful phrases in Kichwa, like thank you, excuse me, please come in. So be sure to come back next Friday at 4 for another Kichwa lesson on Kichwapi. All of our music played today on In Other Words was written and performed by James Taylor, one of the most beloved troubadours of the baby boom generation. Born in Massachusetts, raised in North Carolina, James Taylor has sold over 100 million records worldwide. They say there's a song that they sing when they take to the highway, and James Taylor has played that song at every one of his live concerts since it was first released back in 1970.
There is a young cowboy, he lives on the range. His horse and his cattle are his only companions. He works in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyons, waiting for summer, his pastures to change. And as the moon rises, he sits by his fire, thinking about women and glasses of beer, and closing his eyes as the doggies retire. He sings out a song which is soft but it's clear, as if maybe someone could hear. Good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James? Now the 1st of December was covered with snow, so was the turnpike from Stockbridge to Boston. Though the Berkshires seemed dreamlike on account of that frosting, with 10 miles behind me and 10,000 more to go. There's a song that they sing when they take to the highway, a song that they sing when they take to the sea, a song that they sing of their home in the sky. Maybe you can believe it if it helps you to sleep, but singing works just fine for me. So good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane?
Cheryl Kane, whom I will be interviewing in about 10 minutes, just shared with me one of her favorite life memories from around the time that James Taylor was regularly topping the charts with his great songs. Back then, she lived deep in the woods and baked nutritious bread for her family as her children played outdoors in the fresh country air. You can enjoy the same healthy, natural ingredients and the tasty handmade breads available here in Cotacachi at Pandela. Pandela, delicious, whole grain, sourdough, seeded, creative breads. Find Pandela Cotacachi on Facebook or call them at 099-368-2314. Pandela is located in Rocafuerte across from Primavera. Pandela, because life is better while eating. Or maybe you're in the mood for a hearty beef or pork sandwich. Think Kahlua Coffee and Tea, because Kahlua has great coffee from Intag, but what they do best is sandwiches, meat with savory toppings, and creative vegetarian sandwiches served on fresh baguettes. They're located on the corner of Pedro Moncayo and Leather Street. 7 days a week, breakfast starts at 9. Great coffee, great sandwiches, great service from Andres.
Get to know your neighbors with total Spanish immersion. Vamos.
So, we have again the delight of sharing our studio with Katy Estrella of Pucara Spanish School, which is located here in Cotacachi near San Francisco Square. And Katy also has a B&B, a bed and breakfast, where international students come to stay with her in her home near Otavalo just to learn Spanish. So, Katy, welcome back again. And what are we going to be talking about today?
Gracias, Débora. Hoy vamos a hablar de gracias.
Oh, so gracias. We are going to talk about gracias. She is saying thank you. We are going to talk about thank you and some courtesies.
Exacto. Por ejemplo, tenemos la palabra gracias. De nada. Por favor.
Okay, so we'll begin with gracias, and that means thank you. Very simple. Gracias. We could say muchas gracias.
Es mejor si dices muchas gracias.
And muchas gracias would be thank you very much.
Exacto.
Could you say that for us 2 or 3 times so that our audience can really hear the pronunciation?
Exacto. Muchas gracias, gracias, muchas gracias, gracias.
Thank you so much. And how would someone respond when you say thank you? How do you respond in Spanish?
Se puede usar la palabra de nada. De nada significa...
It's nothing?
No. You're welcome.
Well, of course, it means you're welcome, but literally, are you saying it's of nothing?
Buena pregunta.
Yes.
De nada. De nada porque es para la persona que dice esto, no es tan importante, no, es con mucho cariño que hace algo.
Okay. So it's basically saying you're welcome. It was nothing. You are so welcome, and not even a need to think. But I'll say de nada.
Exacto.
Okay.
De nada es la correcta expresión. Otra expresión es por favor.
And por favor, what does that mean?
Por favor significa please. Cuando usted quiere pedir un favor a alguien, entonces utiliza por favor.
Okay. So por favor is please. Mm-hmm. Can you pronounce that a few more times for our listeners?
Por favor. Por favor.
And I'm hearing again that wonderful Spanish R in our language in English. We would say por favor. We like to right?
Verdad.
But there's a real elegance to Spanish where you will say por favor. Can you do that
favor.
one more time for us?
Por favor. Por favor.
Love it. Love it. Okay.
Y como te dije en la clase anterior, tenemos que pronunciar cada letra.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes Spanish a fairly easy language to learn, is that every single letter is pronounced, and it's pronounced the same every time. So unlike English, where we see a word, and in this word, letters are pronounced this way, or maybe are not pronounced at all, maybe they're silent. And that was one of the delightful things I discovered about learning Spanish, is it's way easy. Every letter is pronounced the same.
Exacto, Débora. Y la última expresión que quiero enseñarte es lo siento.
Lo siento. And this means I'm sorry.
Sí, exacto.
I'm sorry. Lo siento. But lo siento means something different than disculpe.
Sí, disculpe es como excuse me. Y lo siento es realmente porque tú sientes haber hecho algo incorrectamente.
So lo siento is really expressing a feeling of sympathy or of sincere regret of some kind,
Sí.
where disculpe is more, excuse me? Would that be correct, Katy?
Sí, bueno, si dices lo siento es más del corazón. Si dices disculpe es más como para pedir un favor, para hacer una pregunta.
Okay, so lo siento is more from the heart. And disculpe, a little more formal, a little less feeling involved.
Exacto.
That's good to know.
Voy a repetir entonces la lección.
Okay.
Gracias.
Thank you.
De nada.
You're welcome.
Por favor.
Please.
Lo siento.
I'm sorry.
Repito. Gracias.
Thank you.
De nada.
You're welcome.
Por favor.
Please.
Lo siento.
I'm sorry.
¿Una vez más?
Sure.
Ok. Gracias.
Thank you.
De nada.
You're welcome.
Por favor.
Please.
Lo siento.
Lo siento would be I'm sorry. And muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias por escucharme y por entender la lección.
Muchas gracias for coming in and doing another lesson for us. So this is your Spanish lesson for English language speakers. And of course, people who speak Spanish are learning a little English if they listen to our lessons as well.
Sí, me gusta el intercambio, Deborah.
Okay, thank you. Gracias.
Gracias.
Katia Estrella is an experienced Spanish teacher with over 20 years of teaching experience in Europe and Ecuador. In Switzerland, she first learned how to host guests and have conversations in several languages. These are skills she now utilizes at her popular Pucara Spanish school just outside Otavalo and her bread and breakfast for Spanish students who want a full immersion experience. She teaches Spanish to people of all ages at every level, from beginner to advanced, and she offers Spanish lessons in her classroom at San Francisco Square here in Cotacachi. Remember, you can find links to all of our teachers, interview guests, and sponsors on our Facebook page. It's called In Other Words.
Here is our number, 2-915-146. In other words, give us a call.
Prana Vital Energy offers local organic produce, nuts, oils, wine, books, and much more. Located on the corner of 9 de Octubre, or the 9th of October, and Rocafuerte, Prana invites you to browse their shop on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So, we'll be back in just a few minutes with our interview segment, Something to Talk About. Today's guest will be local yoga teacher Cheryl Kane, who is going to share with us some pearls of wisdom she's gathered from over 40 years of teaching yoga. So, I'll talk to you again in a few minutes.
Hear it directly from the people who make things happen in Cotacachi on In Other Words. In April, we interview the veterinarians of Amici Canis, yoga teacher Cheryl Kane, Mickey Enright from A Place of Hope, and Brenda Chadbourne from a Cotacachi Health chapter. Every week, a different guest, so don't miss a single show. You are listening to In Other Words.
You can play the game and you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. But tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing a fool? But one thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Do as I say. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Well, you can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone? Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about this squeaky wheel, always getting the grease. Better to shower the people you love with love. Yes, and show them the way that you feel. I know things are gonna be just fine if you only will. What I'd like to do to you, shower the people you love with love.
You are listening to In Other Words. Listen to the special people who define Cotacachi here in Something to Talk About.
On this episode of Something to Talk About, we are going to be interviewing Cheryl Kane, who is a local yoga instructor. Thank you so much for coming, Cheryl. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me. I live in Otavalo. I've lived in Otavalo for 7 years. I lived a couple years in Quito before that. And I'm an American, North American.
From what area of the country?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
The last place I lived was in the woods in Pennsylvania.
And how long have you been teaching yoga?
I've been teaching yoga for 40 years.
So, not a newbie. You know what
No.
you're doing. Okay, great. For listeners who have never done yoga and can't figure out why anyone would want to stretch out on the floor in what looks like really uncomfortable positions, what can you tell them about yoga? What is yoga? Why do people practice yoga?
Well, yoga has benefits for all the different aspects of ourselves. On a physical level, the exercises increase circulation and help with flexibility and strength and especially balance. On a mental level, it quiets the mind, and emotionally it stabilizes things. When the mind is quiet, we don't react so strongly to stimuli. And then it's actually a spiritual practice as well, because when we're physically healthy and emotionally and mentally calm, the purpose of yoga then is to have the inner being, your deepest soul, come forward so you can actually experience yourself on a spiritual level.
Wow, so there are benefits physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually to sitting in those positions. It sounds like it's well worth the time and effort. When did you first begin practicing yoga, and what made you decide to become a teacher instead of just a practitioner?
I started, my daughter's now 45, and I started right before I found out I was pregnant with her. And I waited till after she was born to then continue my practice. But it helped me so much. Within the first couple weeks, I was standing up straighter, and I had the sense that I liked people more. And I think it had to do with liking myself.
Uh-huh.
And I could see, that's just 2 weeks into it, so I could see that it had a really profound effect. And I practiced on my own for 7 years. Back in 1972, there were very few books about yoga, so I practiced all on my own for 7 years, and then I found a good teacher, and it had helped me so much that I wanted to share it with other people. That was important to me.
So it had almost immediate benefits. You could feel almost immediately the positive effects of yoga, and you want to share how the ways that you benefited with other people. You want to teach other people so that they could share this experience as well. So there, you said you had a teacher, and I know there's different schools of yoga or different types of yoga. Which one do you practice, and why did you choose that one?
My formal training, my certification is in Kripalu Yoga. And I chose it because it talked about the postures, the yoga movements and exercises being a form of meditation themselves. That you didn't have to sit in meditation, but you could quiet the mind and become peaceful with the movements and the deep breathing exercises. So I studied Kripalu Yoga. I received my certification there.
So this form of yoga is actually about meditating. It's
all of yoga is really about meditating. That's really the ultimate goal, is to reach a very special state of consciousness where you really experience the oneness of creation, of all people being a part of yourself, and being a part of God or spirit or a greater power. So that's the ultimate goal. It all leads to that.
And that state of being or state of consciousness that can be attained during yoga, does that last afterwards? Are there times after the practice itself where you continue to feel that sense of oneness?
Well, that is the ultimate goal.
Oh,
to not just experience this ecstatic state, but to live from that place.
To live in that place.
And to be with other people coming from that place, living your life from a state of oneness with all beings, not just having some spiritual experience during a yoga practice. It is important to bring it into our daily lives.
Okay, so it's not something that you do separately Friday at 11 o'clock. It's something it's a practice that is integrated into one's entire life.
Eventually, yes. I know one student said to me once, I love yoga class. I feel so good afterwards, but, that feeling only lasts a couple days. And I said, yes, you have to keep practicing. So the regular practice is key.
And I've heard you tell this story before, and I always laugh because for me, the feeling lasts about an hour. So for someone to have it for a few more days, that's pretty wonderful. So Cheryl, what would you say to someone who tells you that they've thought of trying yoga, but they don't think they could do it?
Yes, well, one of my teachers said, yoga is for all people, everywhere, all the time. So if you can't get down on the floor and do yoga postures, maybe you can sit in a chair and do postures. Maybe you can just do the breathing exercises. And so there's always something that you can do that will help you to reap the benefits of yoga.
Right. And you're never going to force someone to do something or maintain a position that's really uncomfortable for them, let alone painful.
No, it should never be painful.
Okay.
It might look painful, but it's not. And the idea of being in those different positions is to move the energy around. So we sit a lot. We often have energy that's stuck in the body, and so moving around moves the energy around through the body and moves the blood and the lymph, creating better circulation. So on every level you benefit. So you can do it sitting in a chair. You can quiet the mind just by meditating on a certain object or a sound. So there's always something that you can do.
So I understand you do offer classes called chair yoga, and they are different than the regular yoga. Who should consider taking chair yoga classes instead of your regular classes?
If a person's been sedentary for a while, or they've been injured, or in some way aren't well, the chair yoga class is a good place to start. And it's not about doing standing on your head or doing complicated yoga postures. It's more about how present you are with the movements. So that's really what we're focusing on. So it doesn't matter if you're in a chair, if you're on the floor, as long as you bring the mind to be present with the body while you're doing the movements. So it really doesn't matter which you choose to do.
Yeah, so many of the popular images of yoga are people who are obviously very well disciplined, extremely experienced, and they're doing these amazing positions that look like circus athletes. And of course, that's going to intimidate people if that's their impression of what's needed in yoga. So I have talked to some people who I would say are uncomfortable with the idea of taking yoga only because they think they'll have to do things that go against the teaching of their religion, specifically at their church. So what would you say to someone who believes yoga is a religious practice contrary to Christianity?
I think whatever religious views a person holds, they can benefit from yoga. It's not a religion, but it is a way to draw closer to spirit, whatever religion a person practices. I believe it can only enhance your relationship with God or spirit, whatever you choose to call it. I don't think there's any discrepancy between the two. I mean, the kingdom of heaven is within, and yoga is a way to access that, the way the Christians in the past believed they could actually form a relationship with God.
Right. Okay. And I'm thinking there's certainly some Christian denominations that practice meditation as it's part of their spiritual practice to incorporate meditation. And you're saying yoga is very much meditation as well.
Meditation is all through the Bible.
Ah, okay, very interesting. So people should feel comfortable to come in and try out a class and discover that there is nothing in the teachings that would challenge their beliefs as Christians. Yeah.
Yes, and I like your word discover because yoga is a system of self-discovery, not a system of self-improvement.
Tell me more.
So if you get the body reasonably healthy and flexible and balanced, you quiet the mind, you discover a deeper sense of self that is eternal and not a part of your personality or your body or your thoughts or your emotions. There's something that after those, your body's gone, and along with it all your mental stuff, there is still your essence. And the purpose of yoga is to discover that essence.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about how you personally have benefited from your yoga practice, how your life has improved, or maybe how your life might be different if you had not begun your yoga practice?
Well, everybody has their before yoga and after yoga stories, and I do too. And yoga's about calmness, but even now in my life, I have anxiety sometimes, so I try to stick close to my practice, my yoga practice and meditation practice to help cope with that. And who knows where I might be if I didn't have the tools of yoga to to help keep me calm and help keep me grounded. There's also a moral, an ethical code that goes along with yoga, all the way from being compassionate to being moderate in food and drink. And so it's a very holistic, balanced form of self-discovery that really keeps me grounded and stable, and also lighthearted.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I understand that you're teaching in Cotacachi, and where is it that you offer classes? How much do your classes cost if people are interested?
I teach at Ananda. The Holistic Health Center is near the police station. The classes are $6. The classes are an hour for the chair class, hour and a half for the intermediate class, and there's also a cheaper monthly rate that people can pay.
Okay. And can anyone join your class? Are there restrictions on who's permitted?
Well, I have to say my Spanish is pretty bad.
Aye.
So the classes are in English. So that would be about the only restriction.
And when you become fluent in Spanish, you will
Soon.
welcome Spanish-speaking people to join the class. Okay.
I would love that.
And so you teach people of all ages?
Yes, I have a teen yoga class here in Cotacachi, and that's really fun. And my oldest student is 84.
Do you teach young children? Is that something?
I have taught elementary school children in the past, and they're very open to it and very receptive to yoga.
So how would someone who wants to take classes get in touch with you? How would they arrange to come to your classes?
Well, should I give my phone number?
It's up to you.
Well, you can call 093-978-9601.
And can you repeat that? Because people just ran to get their pens and they're ruffling through the drawer. They're coming back now. Can you give it to them one more time?
093-978-9601.
Okay. Cheryl, is there anything we haven't talked about in this interview that you think is really important to let our listeners know about yoga?
Well, I think in the world today, peace and compassion are really important, and also a feeling of oneness with all of humanity. And I really do believe that we have to change ourselves from the inside. We can't just look to leaders to be compassionate and wise. We have to be those things ourselves. And then, however involved we get, it doesn't really matter, because you start to vibrate that compassion and peace. It just becomes who you are. So I recommend the practice of yoga for inner peace individually and world peace.
That's a very lovely thought. Thank you so much. We've been talking with Cheryl Kane, a local yoga teacher. There's links to her email and contact information, as well as her phone number, on our Facebook page, In Other Words. So if you want to get in touch with Cheryl or any of our language teachers, guests, or sponsors from Other Words, you can go to the Other Words program page on Radio Publica Cotacachi's website. And here is another beautiful tune from James Taylor. And I bet most of you can sing the refrain because you know it by heart.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Karen, she's a silver sun. You best walk her away and watch it shining. Watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing now. I'm crying, ain't I? Gone to Carolina in my mind. There ain't no doubt in no one's mind that love's the finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. And hey babe, the sky's on fire. I'm dying, ain't I? I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Dark and silent late last night, I think I might have heard the highway calling. Geese in flight and dogs that bite. The signs that might be omens say I'm going, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. With a holy host of others standing around me, still I'm on the dark side of the moon. And it seems like it goes on like this forever. You must forgive me if I'm up and gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone, I'm gone. Say nice things about me, 'cause I'm gone, solid gone. Got to carry on without me. I'm gone.
And I'm going to Carolina in my mind. What a beautiful song. I remembered every word. I just sang along with all of the lyrics. Beautiful, beautiful song. So if you have a dog, did you know that Wolf Puppy Dog Grooming and Pet Shop of Cotacachi gently bathes and grooms your dog so he looks great and feels great too? And at Wolf Puppy, you'll find high-quality pet food and accessories for every kind of pet. Visit them at the corner of Pedro Mancayo near Matriz Park and check out their Facebook page, Wolf Puppy. That's WOOF, Wolf Puppy. So, thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of In Other Words. We'll be back next Friday and every Friday at 4 with more language lessons and classic oldies sure to bring back good memories from our youth. Remember, we begin every program with announcements of upcoming public events in Cotacachi that are not so easy to find because the print publicity is in Kichwa or Spanish. I interpret those announcements for you to the best of my ability so that you won't miss special cultural events in Cotacachi. You're welcome to join our Facebook page to share your thoughts about what you heard today. Just look for In Other Words when you go on Facebook. Many people have asked me if it's possible to listen to an episode of In Other Words after it has been aired. Well, the radio station's working on making those episodes available as podcasts, but as of right now, I'm sorry, if you want to learn a little Spanish and Kichwa, find out what's going on, listen to a local celebrity like Cheryl being interviewed on something to talk about, or just lean back to the tunes we loved, that only happens at 4 o'clock on Fridays. So put it in your calendar so you won't forget. Another reminder, Cotacachi and Ecuador is on a 4-day holiday. Monday and Tuesday, schools, government offices, and banks will be closed in Cotacachi and throughout the country. Thank you for joining me for another episode of In Other Words. We'll talk again next Friday at 4. Hasta viernes. Chaska punjakaman. Thank you. Gracias. And yupaychani mashikuna.
Thank you for listening to our program. In other words, we'll see you again next Friday at the same time, 4 p.m. on Radio Pública Cotacachi.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, ooh, please be true. In other words.